We're good to go. So, hello everyone, my name is Andres and well, I live in Colombia and I have been volunteering as a student assistant for this course. And so today we're going to go through the homework 7, I guess. That's the number, right? Right? Yeah, so it's Python intensive homework 2. So before we start, I think I'm going to take some questions and work from that. So if any of you have any questions, just leave them in the chat, or you can just I think you can just activate your microphone and speak. If you don't have any questions, then I'll just uh, go right into the homework and go point by point explaining everything. Okay, so there doesn't seem to be any questions. So I'll just go through every point, explaining everything. And okay, let me show you my screen. Okay. So let us start with input and output. So let me see. Exercise 1 is about just create an input function that asks the user for how many bananas they want to buy. Make sure the value is read as an integer. Okay. So this is probably an easy exercise, but yeah, I'll just go through it. This is just let us define a variable, which is what, I mean, they're actually telling us how to do that here. So we're gonna just do that and then print whatever they're telling us, which is exactly this. You're buying X bananas, but in this case, we're not having X, but instead we're gonna have a string variable name. Okay. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen. Yes, you can see it, right? Can anyone please? Can anyone please confirm that? Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
your screen's good.
Yeah. Okay. So I got an error, but yeah, it is solved now. So yeah, you just input something and you are buying 3 bananas. I mean, I don't think I have to explain more. That's just what we saw in the lecture. Okay. So yeah, if you have any questions, just ask them. I'm going a little bit fast here because this is not. I don't think there's much to explain here. Just let me see. When you have strings, for instance, this is a string. You can sum a string with an integer, for instance. So this is going to give you an error, of course, because you can only sum strings with strings or integers with integers or floats. But strings with integers, it doesn't work like that. So if you get your input as an integer, then you must convert it first into a string and then sum with another strings. Right, so let me just get rid of this. And let us just jump into exercise 2, which is write a program that asks the user to type a string and tell the user how long the string was. Okay, so basically the command we're going to use here is called len, which just gives us the length of a string. So for instance, I'm gonna get the length of my name. I'm sorry. So yeah, we get 6. In this case, my name is Andres, and it has 6 letters. So in general, what we want to do with this program is tell the user to input a string, and so it's going to be just input of whatever. So in this case, type a string, and then we're just gonna print the length of the string. We actually have to put a print statement here, and this is going to give, you know, this box, and we just fill it with some string, and yeah, that is the length of the string. I hope this is clear for everyone. Again, if it is not, you just have to ask, or I think you can raise your hand, I guess. Yeah. Okay. I haven't been looking at the chat. Okay. Yeah, no questions still. So exercise 3. Oh yeah, about the breakout rooms. Yeah, I didn't plan any breakout rooms, but I think if you want, I can prepare a quick exercise for you to work in breakout rooms, if that's okay with everyone. Okay, so exercise 3. Ask the user to enter the lucky number, then ask them to enter their unlucky number, and then tell the user the difference between these numbers. So it is the same, you just, I'm just gonna copy this. Yeah, so in this case, we're gonna name it lucky number because it's the lucky number. Yeah, that's, you know, that makes sense. So input your lucky number so the user knows what he or she got to input. And we're gonna do, excuse me, we're gonna do the same for the unlucky number. I'm sorry, I can't see. Yeah, so if you yeah, so I just need someone to let me know if someone raised their hand, because I can see where that is shown.
Oh, okay. I can let you know when someone's raised their hand. So you have one hand raised right now.
Yeah, okay. Can you speak, Himansu?
Hello, yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, amazing. So I have done the homework, and I have just like one thing that I did not get. I attempted thrice and I got the same score again and again. I'm not understanding what I'm doing wrong at that one. So it's the question number 7. Should I share my screen so that you can understand it?
Yeah, I think you're talking about this.
Yes, yes, I'm talking about this question.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think we can just jump right ahead.
Yeah,
Just
if we could, like,
jump
I
right
don't
into
want
this
to
because
spoil
many people
the
have been
classes like
having
entire
trouble with this.
flow.
So what is your particular question? Or if you want, you can just, I mean, we can just go through the whole exercise.
Yeah, so basically, I know that you first are going to initialize the variables and like make them 0, like x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0. And there'll be 2 loops in this question. So one's going to be while x is less than something, and then the other one's going to be while y is less than something, and then you parent y, and then there's increment for like y and x. So the thing is that when I have to do while x is less than something, I think I'm inputting the wrong number because I know y is going to be less than 4, but when I have to do it for x, I'm struggling to like understand what goes there.
Yeah, okay, so let's do that.
You understood what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I get you.
Okay.
So I'm just copying the code.
Yeah, this is exactly
Just
what we
remember, yeah,
discussed.
this is exactly a code we have in Canvas, right?
Right, right, absolutely.
If I
So
have any error
I
with it,
know
you
that
could
y
just
will be
email.
less than 4.
Excuse me, can you say that again?
I know that y will be less than 4, like while y will be less than 4.
Okay, you
Sorry.
know why?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we could all agree that y is less than 4.
Mm-hmm.
And x, actually, let me give you the answer. X is going to be less than 2. And now let me
Oh my
explain
god,
why.
I just realized why. Because the loop runs twice.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah,
just so
that is true
good.
that you
All
realized
right.
that.
Yeah, I put 0, I put 4, Okay, and I thought the third time it will be 2, but you know, when you get a question wrong, you have to write the entire thing again. So then I was just exhausted. I thought I'll just clear it out on Friday, but I got it. Thank you so much, and like have a great day ahead.
Yeah, great. That's okay. But actually, let me show you how this is working.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
So I can do this. So I'm just gonna see what this code inside the outer while loop is doing. So I'm just taking this part of the code without the X part. It is just
The Wi-Fi,
you can
yeah.
just go above it for now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just taking this part of the code, what is inside the first while loop. So what we're
Right.
gonna do is the following. We're gonna keep track of what this y variable is doing, and you know, let me show you. So at first, y is equal to 0, and the while condition, what does is telling me, is asking me, okay, is y less than 4? So because y is 0, and
Yeah.
obviously it's less than 4, so we're going to print y. And
Mm.
let me keep track of this here. So we're going to print 0. And
Yeah.
then to the y, we're going to sum 1. Okay, so now
Yes.
y is equal to 1. And we come back here and we ask again, is y less than 4?
True. Yeah.
And yeah, it is. So it's 1 less than 4. Yeah. So we go ahead and print y again. So we print 1 and do the same. So we print 2 and we print 3.
Mm.
Now, after we print 3, so y is equal to 3, we get 3 plus 1 is 4, and we come back here. Is 4 less than 4?
No, it's
Is
not.
that true?
No.
No, that is false.
Yeah.
So the while run, so this while loop is not run again. So we don't print anything, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is the output, and you can see that is exactly what I just said.
Yes.
Now, what happens with the outer while loop? What it is doing is just running this thing here, this thing we
Yeah.
just discussed this number of times. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So it is not printing anything special. It's just running this piece of code twice. In this
Exactly.
case, where x is going to start at 0. 0 is less than 2. Well, yes, and then it runs this. So we're going to print 0, 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Then x is equal to 1. So this is run again. And then
Mm.
x is equal to 2. So this isn't run again. So what this piece of code is going to do is just print this thing here twice.
Right.
It's just the answer we were expecting, or the
Correct.
answer we were trying to get.
Yes.
So yes, I think that, well, I hope that was clear enough for everyone. If it wasn't, so please just let me know.
Yep. It was clear. Thank you so much. Bye. Have a nice day.
Okay, the same for you. Uh, yeah, so someone's asking is that this should be actually 4 loops. So yeah, in the canvas we have while loops. I mean, we have this same task using while loops, and you should do that because that's actually the homework. But in this case, they're telling us to use 4 loops. So we can just translate this into a 4 loop implementation. So let me show you how it is. So you're just going to use for x in, I don't know, in range 2. I think we already saw this in the course. But anyway, we're using this range 2 is, it works like a list, 0, 1, right? Which is exactly what we're doing here. First x is equal to 0, and then x is equal to 1, and then x is equal to 2, but that doesn't matter because we're not running the while loop again. So in this case, we're using range 2, which means x is 0 and then x is equal to 1, right? This is what the for loops does. So with the for loop, we don't need this variable definition. We define it right here in the for loop definition itself. And for the same reason, we don't need y equal to 0. we just do for y in range 4, and then the same, print y, and then we actually don't need this because what this is going to do is, okay, first y is going to be 0. Okay, let me show you what this list looks like. This range 4 is going to be something like a list, something like this. Okay, I don't have to define it. This is just to show you how it looks. So this for loop, what does is takes y, the first element, so 0, then print 0, then goes back here and takes the other element, the next element, and again prints y, and does that once over and over again until the range is completed. So the last element we're going to print is 3, and the outer loop is just for do this thing here twice. And so this is the implementation with for loops. This is exactly the same we obtained with while loops, but in this case it's first with for loops, which is what they're actually asking here, and you can see it's actually a bit shorter. You spend here 7 lines with and here only 3, which is kind of cool, but it does the same. Okay. Does anyone have any more questions about this one? Because I think this one was the trickier one of the exercises. I saw a lot of people asking, how does this work? What are the answers? And so, yeah, I hope that was clear enough. So, yeah, if you don't have any more questions about that, let's just go back to this. Okay. Yara has a question. Can we go over questions 5 and 13 in the homework? Yeah, okay. 5 is, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one asks the user to enter the test grade. If the grade is 65 or over, they'll tell them they passed. If the grade is below a 65, tell them they didn't pass. This is the one? Okay, the seashells. Oh, this one. I think this is exercise number 6. Yeah, so this one. Ask the user to input how many seashells they collected. If they have 3 seashells, okay, let's just start from the beginning. Let's say number of seashells, okay? Okay, I'm just using an unnecessarily seashells. I'm just using an unnecessarily long variable name, but it's just for reference. I mean, so you know what I'm doing. And so I'm also know what I'm doing. So this is going to be just an integer of input. I don't know, input the number of seashells you have. This string you put here, you put in here, it doesn't matter. You can put whatever you want here, but it's just for the user to know what he or she has to input, right? So you can put whatever you want here, as long as it is a string. It has to be inside these quotation marks. So this is the first part, which is ask the user to input how many seashells they collected. If they have 3 seashells, tell them to give 1 seashell to their friend. So if a number of seashells, this is pretty long, so I'm just going to copy it. If number of seashells is equal to 3, then tell them to give 1 seashell to their friend. So we're just going to print give 1 seashell to your friend. Okay, there is one question, but let me finish this one and then I'll explain that. So tell them to give 1 seashell to their friend. If they have more than 3 seashells, tell them to give their friend 2 seashells. So if, okay, this actually is going to be elif, because this is these are exclusive possibilities. So in this case, if the number of seashells is greater than 3, so if the user has more than 3 seashells, we are going to tell him or tell her that give 2 seashells to their friend, right? So right now I can answer your question, Yara. Why can't I just type if seashells greater or equal than 3?
So wait, really quick, on the homework, it says, like, if they have 3 seashells, tell them to give 1 seashell to their friend. If not, tell them to keep them for themselves. So it's slightly different, but that's like, so what you did makes sense for this version, but I would think that for the question they asked on the homework, it would be greater than or equal to 3.
Okay, yeah, the question in Canvas is actually without this part, right?
Right.
Without this case. So yeah, we can just comment this so the code doesn't run, so the code don't get run. And yeah, but I think this is actually conserved. If they have 3 seashells, tell them to give 1 seashell to their friend. So the case is exactly this. If they have exactly 3 seashells, they give 1 to their friend. So if they have more than 3, they keep them all, right?
Right. Okay,
So
that makes sense. Okay.
So the question in the Canvas is, if this condition, so if the number of seashells is exactly 3, then just give 1 seashell to your friend. But if you have any other number, then else print keep them for you. Yeah, this is actually the answer. But yeah, it would make sense to have this, because if you have more than 3, well, yeah, you can give 1 to your friend, but you know that makes sense, but it isn't the homework. So okay, so that was the Canvas question. Now let us answer this question in particular. So I'm just going to copy this, which is what completes the exercise. And so if the number of seashells is larger than 3, then give 2 seashells to your friend. And if you have less than 3, which is the other possibility, then you just keep them for yourself, right? Now you could also write this as elif number of seashells is less than 3, which is the other possibility. But this is kind of redundant because because we can just put else, and that is whatever other possibility. But we know this is the only possibility that exists, right? I mean, the only possibility out of these 2 is that number of seashells is less than 3. So we don't need to write this thing, we just write else, right? Else means every other possibility. So this means this is every other possibility. So let us try our code. So let us say I have 4 seashells. So I'm going to give 2 seashells to my friend, right? That makes sense. That is what the code is supposed to do. If the number of seashells is 3, then I'm just going to give 1 seashell to my friend, and the other case is if I have less than 3 seashells, then I'm going to keep them all for me, because if I only have 1 seashell and I give 1 to my friend, then I want to have also my seashells. So yeah. Let me see the chat. Why can't we type if in place of elif? You mentioned. Yes, in this case, we can do that. Actually, yes. You can just use a if here. You can use an if statement here, because, yeah, basically because this part of the code won't get run, but this part of the code will run because this condition is met, right? Now, what happens with elif? elif states that this thing here will only get run if this if statement wasn't met. I think I don't think I was clear. So if this condition isn't met, we go on to the next condition, which is this one, right? But this will only be run if this wasn't run. Okay. Now, if this is run, then we won't even look at this, right? So let me show you with an example. So if this is equal to 3, and for instance, let us say some x is equal to 4. Now, elif x is equal to 4, then we're going to print this, right? So if I only use if, well, this is going to get wrong because the condition is met. I mean, obviously, if I input 3, now it will jump right into this. And because x is equal to 4, it would also print this one, right? And yeah, let us ignore this for just for now. So let us see what happens. It prints both results, yeah, and we don't really want that. Now, what I want to do is, if this condition is met, then I don't want to run this, right? So what I do is elif. This elif means if this condition is met and this condition is not met, then run this, right? So if we run this and I input, for instance, 3, we only get the first condition, right? We only return this output. That is kind of the difference. I think I will, just let me know if I wasn't clear enough, and I'll try to explain in another way. But yeah, that's sort of the difference. In this case, these two, the if and elif, are not independent. This elif depends on the output of the former if loop, of the former if condition. But if we only put 2 if conditions, then these two are independent, right? For instance, in this case, you cannot have an else statement if you don't have an if statement before. So this else is dependent of whatever you put before, right? Yeah. So yeah, I don't see any. Okay. Why can we type if in place of a leave? Okay. Means if the variable is mentioned previously, then we can use to if statement alongside. I don't think okay. Then we can use two if statement alongside. Yeah, it depends on what you want to do. So for instance, let me see. Let me say maybe you have seashells and you have also, I don't know, hamburgers or whatever. Yeah, so we're going to do the same. Actually, I prefer coins, but yeah, the number of coins you have. So in this case, we have more or less, more flexibility. So let me see. For instance, if the number of seashells is equal to 3 and no, I'm hungry. No, yeah, okay. I think that's a consequence of choosing hamburgers, but with coins that doesn't happen. Okay, so let me see. Number of seashells equals to 3, and number of coins is equal to I don't know, whatever number 4. Yeah. So what I'm doing here is telling the user to input the number of seashells she or she has and the number of coins, right? Right. So yeah, if the number of seashells is equal to 3 and at the same time the number of coins is equal to 4, we're just going to give 1 seashell to your friend and maybe 2 coins, for instance. Yeah. Now, elif, for instance, the number of seashells is equal to I don't know, some number. is, well, let's say is less than 3 and coins is equal to 4, then give 2 seashells to your friend. Now let us give them, yeah, keep them all to you. And give 1 coin, maybe. I'm just making this up. So yeah, and I'm deleting this. So what happens here? I'm just going to change this for an OR. Okay. So what happens here? If the number of seashells is equal to 3 and the number of coins is equal to 4, we print this. And we skip the elif statement. Okay. So this is what happens. Let me see. Let me actually run this code. So for instance, 3 for the number of seashells and 4 for the number of coin. So it will only print this one, right? Give 1 seashell to your friend and 2 coins. Yeah, that makes sense. What happened here? It just jumped right into whatever was after the elif. So it didn't even look at this, right? Because the if condition was met. Now, what if I only put if, right? If I put if I only write if, this will get run, okay, and then it will just go right into the next statement that doesn't have to be, that has anything to do with this if statement, and that code is this one, right? So these two are completely unrelated, but if we put elif, they are related. Now let us see what this actually looks like. I'm just going to stop that. And let us see what this actually looks like. So if I input, for instance, I don't know, 3 seashells and 4 coins, I get both outputs, right? I hope you can understand why this is true. So because of what I told you, this is run, okay? So number of seashells equals to 3, yeah, it is 3. And the number of coins is equal to 4 because, yeah, okay, you inputted 4. Now this gets run and you print this one, this statement here, right? Now you go to the next if statement that is independent, right? So this one is independent of this one. So we're gonna run it anyway. Even though this was run, we are also gonna run this one. So in this case, if number of seashells is less than 3, it is not, but we have an OR condition. And as you can remember, only one of these conditions has to be met in order for the OR to be true. So this is false, but this is false, but this is true. Yeah, because the number of coins is equal to 4. So this condition will also get run. So in this case, we also get that output. Now, if I don't want to run this, I mean, if I want the possibilities to be exclusive, yeah, because I don't wanna tell the user to give 1 seashell and then at the same time tell the user to keep them all. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it's like me telling you, give me, I don't know, give me your hamburgers, but don't give them to me. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So I don't want that. I want these outputs to be exclusive conditions. Yeah. So for that case, I'm just gonna print elif, right? I'm just gonna write elif. I hope I was clear. So in this case, you just run it like this, and you can work with exclusive conditions. Okay. We must use 1 if and 1 elif, right? Only for independent statements, we can write 2 if. Yeah, so when the statements are independent, you can use 2 if. I mean, as you can see, the code doesn't output an error. It just does something different from what you expect the code to do. Yeah, so the code won't give you an error, but that's kind of awkward when you are trying to do something and the computer is trying to do something completely different. So you should keep an eye on that. And yeah, you can use as many elif statements as you want. So for instance, I can put, I don't know, 3 for different conditions. So for instance, if you have 100 coins, then just keep 50 because I think that's quite a lot. And if you have 0, then and more than 3 seashells, then I don't know, give 2, and you can edit that as you'd like. And yeah, this is only to tell you you can use as many elif statements as you want, and after that you can use an else statement. So what does the else statement do? This first condition gets run. Yeah, if it is met, then it just run, and so it just jumps right into this line, jumps here, right? If one of these conditions is run, then it runs the code inside the condition and jumps right here. Okay, so it is out of the if statements. But if this condition isn't met, you jump into the next. And if this condition is not met, you jump into the next, and so on. And if none of those conditions is met, then you run whatever is in the else loop. So for instance, print, I don't know, keep everything, I guess. Yeah. And then after this, you will run whatever is here. So if there is nothing, your program ends. Okay, there is another question. Regardless of which number I enter, my program assigns to keep the seashells. No sharing. yeah. So, so yeah, that's probably a bug, or you are actually really pretty selfish. But yeah, so I think this was clear enough. If it wasn't clear enough, just let me know, and I'll just, yeah, it's a bug. I hope so. Yeah. So there was another question, right? This was the exercise you were having trouble with, and the other one was 13. Could you please let me know which one exactly? I mean, because I have exercise 1 and I don't really know what I'm doing here. Or is it a feature? Yeah.
It's the one that asks about how old the user is. Let me see if I think it's after that, after the one that you're on. Keep going, keep going. Okay, and keep going down. Let me see if I can find it on the, because I don't have that program pulled up right now. The Python intensive homework too. Let's see if I can find it on there.
Yeah, if you can just copy and paste into the chat what the problem looks like.
Yeah.
Fill in the 2 blanks, ask the user how old they are. Then ask the user what the year is. Then state how old the user will be in 10 years. Okay, this is the one. This is one of the input-output exercises of additional practice, right? Okay, before I start this, there is one more question. Do we also have a copy of this Python workbook for us to work with? And yeah, I think so. I think so, but I don't remember where it is. So I think we could just no, let me actually look for it and I'll let you know. Oh, okay, it is in Canvas. No, I think it is in Canvas. I mean, what is in Canvas are the questions, but she's asking, I don't know, this person is asking specifically for this collaboratory notebook. So yeah, I don't really remember where it is. Ah, okay. Yeah, great. Thank you. So yeah. Yeah, so someone put the answer in the chat. That is, yeah, that is the answer. So let us go into this question. So this is question 9, and just putting it here. Okay, so ask the user how old they are. So first, what we want to do is first create a variable of, for instance, age, and let us say that the age is an integer. So we get an input, and let's just ask the user how old you are. When, how old are you? Okay, now that is, we have already the age, which is as the user how old they are. I think that's clear enough, right? You just use the input command and then convert it to an integer. If you don't convert it to an integer, you can't just perform mathematics on this. Yeah, because we're getting a string. Okay, then ask the user what the year is. Okay, now year, again an integer, input. What is the current year? Okay, now then state how old the user will be in 10 years and what year it will be in 10 years. So if, for instance, right now I don't know, I'm 25 years old, then I'm sorry. So if I'm 25 years old right now, in 10 years, I'm going to be 25 plus 10, which is 35, right? So we're just going to print that answer. So in 10 years, you will have, and then plus a string, right? Let's say age in 10 years, right? So let us calculate the age in 10 years, right? So this age in 10 years is the age the user is going to have in 10 years from now. So age plus 10, right? We're just summing this integer plus 10, and that's going to give me the age of the user and for the in the next 10 years. And now year in 10 years is going to be the same. It's going to be year plus 10, right? Because yeah, you know why. So in 10 years, you will have string age in 10 years, and the year will be the same thing, string year in 10 years, right? Now, actually, let me add a space here. Oh, okay, I have one comment. You can see here I use these double quotation marks, which is kind of, yeah, this thing here, but it's actually this one. And here I have a single one. So actually you can use both of them, and they both work like the same. Yeah, in Python they work the same, so you can just work with them without a problem. And now I think this solves the problem. Now let me see, how old are you? 22. And what is the current year? This year is 2020. So we have an error. Let me see what it is. So okay, I misspelled one variable. Yeah, this is uppercase. Okay, same thing. And now we have the actual answer. So in 10 years, you will be, this is a Y, you will have 32, and the year will be 2030. Yeah. So that is basically, that solves the problem, right? I think that was clear enough. If it wasn't, you know, just yeah, you can just ask me. So lol, ignore the second part because I inputted the wrong variable. Okay, yeah.
If you open up that screenshot, that like I used age plus 10, but it said it was wrong. I used the wrong variable for the second one, so I can ignore that part. I should have just put year plus 10.
Let me see. Mhm. Oh yeah, I get you. Yeah, so you have this order kind of kind of a weird order, yeah, because you have year here, something like this, and age here.
Oh.
Yeah, that is the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, you can see. I mean, I think your idea was correct, but yeah, you just have you just need to be careful about that. So yeah, anyone has any more questions? Otherwise, I'm just gonna go where I left before and keep doing that. But I'm gonna go really fast now because we're already in the middle of this meeting. So we were here. So exercise 3 was ask the user to enter their lucky number, then ask them to enter their unlucky number and tell the user the difference between these numbers. So it's just the same we have been doing in the last 40 minutes. So it's just print the difference. So in this case, we're gonna say the difference is, and then plus string and difference. And we have to define the difference, obviously. So in this case, it's just gonna be a lucky number minus unlucky number. And so let's say my lucky number is 1 and my unlucky number, okay, this is a problem because I'm asking the lucky number again, but it should be the unlucky number. So I'm just gonna stop this and run it again. So input your lucky number, which is, I don't know, 4. And my unlucky number is, I don't know, 3. And the difference is 1, which is, you can just do this difference by yourself and check that it's true. So yeah, I think that is the answer. So exercise 4. Yeah, this is kind of a more interesting question, but I'm just going to copy a lot of this code and I'm going to change a few things. So for instance, let me not name this number 1 and this is number 2. So input one number and then input another number. Yeah. So here we're gonna say product because they're asking for the product. So ask the user to input 2 numbers and print whether it's true or false that the product of the numbers is greater than 10. So what we need to do is if product greater than 10, then print true, and else, so if the product is less or equal, then print false. Okay. Now product is going to be just number 1 times number 2, and it should work. Like for instance, input one number 2 and another number 3. So product is 6, right? So this condition isn't met, but this is. So it's gonna be I am sorry. This is gonna print false, right? Now we can do this in another way. So for instance, we can just say print product equal, larger than 10. Yeah, so it is false. You can see you can use if and else, but you can also use this notation, which is more direct than the former. So in this case, we're just gonna expand everything in if and else. And the advantage of this is that I can do some other operations. And here as well, right? But in this case, because we're only gonna print if the condition is true or false, well, we can just do it like this. So the program is the same. And I think in Canvas, the question is like this. Thank you, Yara, for coming. Okay. Now let us see conditionals. So we have a few concepts which are if, else, and elif. I already went through this, but let us just do this exercise number 1. So ask the user to enter the test grade if the grade is 65. Is someone speaking? Okay. So ask the user to enter the test grade. If the grade is a 65 or over, tell them they passed. If the grade is below a 65, tell them they didn't pass. I don't know. I think if you got this code, then you can do this yourself, I think, right? If you don't, I mean, if you have any questions, don't mind asking. I'll just gladly answer your questions, but I think I'm just gonna go right above this. So exercise 3. Exercise 3. Ask the user what they like the least out of the colors green, purple, and orange. If their least favorite is also your least favorite, print me too. If not, print I disagree. Okay. So we're gonna take an we obviously need to take an input from the user, which is gonna be, I mean, let's just call it least liked, maybe. And it's gonna be just an input. And we're gonna ask, what is your, okay, which color do you like the least from this, from green, purple, and orange, right? So the user tells me, I mean, for instance, green, and let's say my favorite, mine is, let's say, purple. So if least liked is equal to favorite, mine actually, well, they say me too. So we just print it. Otherwise, that is in Python, that is written else, we just print I disagree. Yeah, so maybe just green. And because they don't like green and I don't like purple, then we disagree in these terms. So yeah, that was kind of an easy problem as well. Compared to this one, I mean, this one, I don't actually don't know what this was exercise 2 and this was exercise 3. I think this one was easier than this. So you could have just do the opposite order. There is one comment. Suppose if anyone enters an alphabetical list in input and I have to use the input made by the user to print a line, how can I do that? Because all we're doing here is based on the input of user that is in the integer number and an alphabetical word or line. So yeah, actually in this case, it is a string. So for instance, look, if we, let me see. So in this case, we're actually getting we're actually getting a string. So for instance, if I input green, then it prints green. I mean, this isn't a number. This is actually a word. If you want to input a single letter or another symbol, then this works for you. The only difference is that you don't have to put an integer here, because there is no way you can turn, for instance, green into integer. I mean, green is just it's a string character, right? So this is the case you're asking for. So let me see. In this case, we're comparing two strings, right? So for instance, the user says green and I say purple. So the only way these two strings are the same is that they have the same sequence of the same character. So for instance, A is equal to A, that's obvious, right? AB is equal to AB, yeah. But AB is not equal to AC because, okay, the first element is the same, but the second element is not the same. So for instance, this code will fail if the input, if the user has a misspelling mistake, right? For instance, if the user says greens, then I disagree. I mean, okay, that was obvious. But for instance, if he says purple, I don't know, this is a misspelling. But if you're a human, you understand that the user is saying purple actually. So if the user says that, and you run this program, we actually disagree, but because the user made a misspelling, a spelling mistake, right? So yeah, basically the what you have to learn from this is that these comparisons, for this string comparison to work, both strings have to have the same characters in the same order. If you flip, for instance, these last two letters, then the program will fail. Okay. So that was the, I think that actually answers this question of Tanomoy. Yeah. So for loops. So there is a concept of for loops and the range function. So first, an iterable is something whose elements are able to be looked through. So for instance, this is a list and is iterable, right? Which means I can take the first element, do something with that element, and then go to the next element, and then to the next element, and to the next, etc. So for instance, this is a list, and this is an iterable. We also have another iterable, for instance, a range. This is in a list. This is something that is called a range, but you can convert it easily into a list. Like, I am sorry, range 3, list. You can convert that range into a list, which is going to be 0, 1, 2, because we start counting from 0, and we have 3 elements, so 0, 1, 2, and that's it. But yeah, even though you can see the numbers on this list, you can see, for instance, that it is an iterable because when you do a for loop, you can actually iterate in this range. So let me, for instance, just print this number I. Yeah, it's just going to be 0, 1, 2. This range means we're going to take the numbers from 0 to 3 and recount by 1. So 0, 1, 2, without counting the 3. Okay, so in this case, yeah, this is the thing. Now, for instance, you can also use the numbers list, which I haven't actually run, and print every number in this list. So for instance, 1, 5, 3, and 1, 5, 7, and 3. Yeah. So you can iterate over this thing. Now you can also iterate over, for instance, a string. So for instance, my name, which is Andres. In this case, for I in Andres, which is a string, you can just go through every element of this string and print the element. So in this case, you can just see that it actually outputs ANDRES, right? So we have different numbers of iterables. So for instance, we have lists, strings, ranges, right? And that is what we're gonna use when we use for loops. Now we have terminating conditions, the condition under which the loop is done executing. So this actually works for while loops. So for instance, while x is less than 7, we do whatever, I don't know, print x. Now, what happens with the while loop? I have to initialize this variable, and I also need to say to increment the variable, so it doesn't run to infinity. So it doesn't run to infinity. So in this case, we just print x. It starts from 0. Is okay. Print 0. Then x is equal to 1, right? And so yeah, because x is less than 7, then we print x and so on. So basically that's it. This is the condition, the terminating condition, right? And for loops, that doesn't exist actually. And there is also a loop body. So the loop body is basically this thing here, is whatever is inside the while loop. So you have this command while, have a condition, this mark here, and we have a block. This block is characterized by these spaces here. So you have to be really careful to put everything inside this block. If I do this, then I will get just, look, this code doesn't end running. It just runs forever, printing 0, because this thing here is outside of the while loop. So I have to manually stop that because that will run until, for eternity. So yeah, this has to be inside the while loop. And okay, so those are the basic concepts of for loops. So I think as a final exercise, I just wanna, okay, what happened to this? So if you're using TextEdit, you use a space or a tab. Okay, actually, usually you use a tab. For instance, x less than 7. In most editors, when you press enter, it automatically puts you here, So I don't have to manually say, give me a space, but instead when I hit enter here, we automatically get this space, right? But here in Collab, this is only 2 spaces, but in usual text editing tools, there are 4 spaces. And you usually use a tab. So instead of writing 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, you actually use a tab. Yeah, that is the way most people I have seen do these things. So yeah, I think this was solved. Okay, let me solve this, and then I'll yeah. Okay, print the product of the numbers in the list numbers. So what we have to do? We have to define this first, a variable. I mean, let's say it's equal to 0, this product variable. So for a number, I mean, let's say for n in numbers, then we're going to say product is equal to product times this number. So what are we doing here? We're actually going through this list and taking every single element. So first element 1. So we take product times 1. Okay, and we go to the next element 5 and do the same, and then to the next, and then to the next. That actually gives us the product of these elements. Now I wanna let you know what happens when we don't initialize well this variable. So in this case, you can see product is going to be 0 always. And I think you can see what the problem is, right? Because this is 0, then 0 times whatever is always 0. So product is going to be 0 all the time. no matter what you multiply it for. So you have to initialize initialize product to 1, right? I think that that's clear for everyone. So you initialize product to 1, as opposed to here, for instance, when we initialized x to be 0, right? For instance, here we initialize x to be 0. In this case, we don't want to do that. We want to initialize our product to be 1, so that when we multiply anything by this product, the product is actually saved into the variable. So when we do this, we actually get the actual answer. Now, if you want to try this, then just 1 times 5 times 7 times 3, which is 1 over 5. Okay, so yeah, that's it. I think, okay. So if you have any questions regarding this particular problem, just let me know and I'll go through it. Otherwise, let me just go ahead. So, do you have any more specific questions? Because I don't think I will be able to finish all of this right now. So I want to be as useful as possible. So I think the way I can be the most useful is if you have any questions and I just answer them, or if you have any particular exercise you're stuck with. Okay, how many people are there? Let me see. Okay, 25. Yeah, let's start from the bottom. Okay. So yeah, this is quite a long notebook. This one, the calculator. SQs at n usually tough. Yeah, that's right. So so this is actually the last question, which is the calculator. This is, yeah, let's do this. So what they want us to do, basically, I'll let you know what they want. Write a function called calculate that serves as a function calculator. And then, okay, let me, right, input format. The input parameters to your function should be the first number, the second number, and the arithmetic operation. Okay, this gives me space for talking about functions. Yeah, so what does a function means, or what is a function, or what do we care about function? So a function is, some piece of code that does repetitive stuff for us. So for instance, let me see with an example. So I don't know. I was talking about hamburgers about half an hour ago. So I'm just gonna talk about hamburgers. So how do you make a hamburger? So you initialize by, I don't know, having bread. Then the next step is cooking the meat, right? And then, I don't know, slicing cheese if you want. Yeah, and let's say that's the basic steps for preparing a hamburger. So if you, for instance, you work at a McDonald's, I don't know, then your boss is not gonna tell you always how to prepare an hamburger, right? You have to know that. So your boss tells you how to do it, and then you're expected to know how to do it in the following days. So this is what we're gonna do with functions. For instance, if someone asks me for a hamburger, I don't have to copy all of this and do the same. I don't have to read the book once and all over again. But I only say, okay, this is a function, and that is called make hamburger. And we have these instructions here, and we return a hamburger, right? So what is the thing with this? If a user asks me for a hamburger, I don't have to go through all of this. I don't have to copy all these pieces of code, right? I don't have to copy all the code again because it is pretty long. It's boring. I don't want to go through it again. But I just say make hamburger, okay, and the user gets the hamburger. So if a new user tells me how that I should make a hamburger, then I just copy the same code, right? I don't have to copy all of this, but only this one line of code. It is a way for me to keep my code in a clean way, right? So I'm just gonna delete this. Yeah, so let me see. The input parameters to your function should be the first number, the second number, and the arithmetic operation, added plus, minus, times, or divided by. Let me see the input. So what we need to do is create a function that takes a number, another number, and an arithmetic operation. For instance, plus, times, minus, divided by, and so on. And the output is, for instance, 1 plus 2 is 3. So yeah, this is what our calculator should do. So I'm just going to give you a solution and then go through it, right? So calculator, XY, arithmetic. Okay. X plus yeah, so this is the basic syntax. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm just gonna copy that. And if arithmetic equals to 2 times, well then we just have to change this. So this is gonna be times. If divided by, and this is the same, right? X divided by Y, and minus. So that's the same, right? And the way we call our calculator is in the following way. So we copy this function and we say, for instance, 1, 2, and plus. This is just going to be 1 plus 2 equals 3, which is kind of, yeah, kind of a different format, but you know, it does the same. So how does this work? Now, if arithmetic equals to plus, so if the user is asking me if the user is asking me to do this, to do a summation, yeah, then you just print this. So X plus Y is going to be in whatever operation you have to do, right? So there's actually a more compact way to write this, but this is a kind of easy to understand way. I think if you are having trouble understanding this kind of syntax, just let me know. But anyway, look, the advantage of this is that I just don't have to copy all of this in order to do the same operation, but I can just copy this thing here. And that's it. Yeah, for instance, 10 times 2, well, that's going to give that's going to yield 20. Yeah. And so that is a pretty good answer. And this actually shows you what this is useful for. Yeah. So this function definition is useful for this because I don't really want to copy this in all my in all my code, because in all my notebook, because it makes the notebook ugly, you know. So that's basically it. Yeah. So I'm just gonna go ahead and check this other mini project. But I think I'm actually out of time. So if you guys have any last questions, just let me know and we'll try to answer them. If you don't, well, I don't think we have any more time. Or please, Kim, let me know if we have any more time. I don't really know until what hour this is. So if you're around, okay, depends on how long. Yeah, okay. I can say as long as, I don't know, another 15 minutes but it depends also on how much people want to be here as well, right? Yeah, I think let me see, what can we do right now? Right, a function, yeah, I think we already went through the complicated stuff, so I think we can just leave it here. If you have any questions, then ask him. This is not regarding homework, but I want to know if we can go over opening and working in Python. Yeah, sure. That's actually a pretty nice question. So let me show you. You have many options. For instance, you can use collaboratory. You can just go into this address, which is I'm gonna copy it in the chat. You need to have a Google account, but when you create a new Google account, then you go and I actually didn't show you that. So you go into this address, and this actually is new notebook. Yeah, so you hit new notebook, and you're ready to go. You have a new notebook here, so you just can start coding. That's pretty easy. Yeah, exactly. So can you go in this link, Nadi? If you can go into this link, just do it. Can you? Yeah, it's okay. I'm sorry. To everyone in meeting. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. I just write it down. So yeah, you can go into that link and follow the steps I followed here, and yeah, you're good to go. So please let me know if that if you could actually go into collab. Now let me actually show you. Sorry. Yeah, okay. So that is one possibility. Now the other possibility is that you use if you have Anaconda installed, you can just let me see. If you have Anaconda installed, you can just open a terminal. I mean, yeah, this is in Linux, but if you don't have Linux, don't worry. I think there are I can let you know some other options for Windows user or Mac users. But basically, if you have Linux, you open a terminal and then you hit Jupyter Notebook, right? Okay. So you hit Jupyter Notebook, and you usually have to do conda activate because this is what activates the environment. As you can see, I hit here. As you can see here, I tried Jupyter Notebook, but it's saying that Jupyter Notebook is not a command. So you should first activate your environment and then hit Jupyter Notebook. Now, once you activate Jupyter Notebook, you can just start a new notebook. Wait. Yeah, I don't think what's happening. Okay, right. So once you're in Jupyter, you can just hit new and Python 3. And again, you're good to go. This should open a new notebook. Right, so you can just start coding. I hope that was clear. Anyway, so that is one possibility. And the other possibility is just, using just Colab. So in Colab, you have to do, you go to this link. If you are into, if you already are signed in your Google account, then you just hit a new notebook here, this blue button. And yeah, you get to a new notebook in Google Collaboratory. So that's it. I think that kind of answers that. Yeah, okay. So I think we can start wrapping this up. So if you have any last questions, just this is the moment. If you don't, then thank you all for being here. And yeah, I think that's it. If you have any more comments, Kim, just please let me know.
All right, sounds good, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm going to shut down the meeting now.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, everyone.